Um, Welcome all to the webinar organized by EMTG about living and working as a nurse in the Netherlands. My name is Helena Quintana, and I'm a Spanish nurse who is living here in the Netherlands for almost 6 years. Together with my colleague Raquel, who is also a Spanish nurse, we'll be giving you a short presentation of about 20 minutes on what it's like to live and work in the Netherlands as a nurse. After the presentation, we'll have a Q&A session where Raquel will also share more about her personal experience. Here's what we will be covering today. First of all, why to choose the Netherlands. Second of all, nursing in the Netherlands, including the structure of the Dutch healthcare roles and responsibilities and salaries. Third, why to choose EMTG. And lastly, how is our Dutch language course at Academia Neerlandesa? And we'll be finishing with a Q&A. Now, let's start with why the Netherlands is such an attractive destination for nurses. If you choose to work here, you'll benefit from a high quality of life with excellent public services, safety, and work-life balance, a strong healthcare system, an international work environment, and great opportunities for career growth. Overall, the Netherlands offers stability, professional respect, and a welcoming environment for new healthcare workers out other countries. And the nursing profession here in the Netherlands, let's briefly look at the Dutch healthcare system. In the Netherlands, everyone has to have a health insurance. That means that the government oversees the system, but the insurance itself is provided by private companies. There is universal coverage, and insurance, as I said, is mandatory for all residents. Children under 18 are covered for free, and the system is financed through income-based contributions, fixed monthly premiums, and government support for people that have lower income. The care delivery is organized on 3 levels, I think, like almost all countries in Europe. Primary care given mostly by GPs, secondary care given by specialists, whom patients are referred via the GP, and tertiary care, advanced treatments provided in university or specialized hospital. The Dutch nursing profession is organized into 8 levels, depending on educational responsibilities. Level 1 and 2 are care assistants, or are people that provide basic support and personal care. That is what we know in countries such as Portugal, Spain, Italy as nursing care assistants. Level 3 is also nurse assistant, so it's somebody that doesn't have a registration but can provide personal and basic nursing care. And level 4 and 5 are fully qualified nurses, and the only difference is that level 5 has a bit of more responsibility, leadership responsibilities, and they are normally involved in complex care. Now, level 6 to 8 are specialist nurses that can sometimes diagnose and prescribe certain medications, and also like managers, for example, from a department. In terms of salary, nurses in the Netherlands can expect to earn between approximately 38,000 to almost 60,000 gross per year, depending on their level, experience, and the type of healthcare they give. Important to say, this is for nurses that work on mornings, for example. So if you work in the evening, night shifts, or festivities, you will earn more. As a nurse or nurse assistant, you'll find plenty of job opportunities across different areas, such as elderly care, home care, mental health services, hospitals, and private clinics. So as you can see in the next dia, we are you can find us in the whole Netherlands. Here you have some examples of places where we have job offers. And why to choose EMTG? Let's talk about it. EMTG can make a real difference in your journey to work as a nurse in the Netherlands. This is a company that has over 13 years of valuable experience supporting professionals. And during this time, they have placed successfully 900 nurses and nurses assistants like Raquel and me. And what makes it very special is that comprehensive support. They don't only help you to come to the Netherlands, but they guide you through the process. What EMTG offers is job security, an individual approach, the Dutch language lessons given at Academia Neerlandesa, a continuous support during your first year, which is a crucial year if you start as a nurse in the Netherlands, job mentoring, so you always have someone to turn to with questions or for advice, guidance in obtaining your Dutch nurse registration, also called as BIG-register, assistance finding housing, and many other services to help you through this time. Where does everything start? It starts at Academia Neerlandesa, and it's very important this because learning Dutch is a key part of preparing to work in healthcare in the Netherlands. This academy is designed for nurses and healthcare assistants to help them communicate with confidence with patients, with colleagues, and for your life in the Netherlands, basically. The course takes place in Alicante, in Spain, and it is an intensive and immersive training. So it means that you will move to Alicante. For how long? For 4 months. And this is very important because that's the time that it takes us to get an intermediate level of the Dutch. Is that both the accommodations and meals are fully included. So you only have to go there with a lot of motivation and a big smile to learn Dutch. You'll also get to experience the Dutch culture because you will be also celebrating festivities like King's Day, Sinterklaas, and you will be also adapting yourself to the Dutch tempo. So, for example, you will start having your meals a bit earlier, like Dutch people do. Well, the lessons, the focus of the lessons is to get to an intermediate level of Dutch, but also to get medical vocabulary, to do real life healthcare scenarios, and very important, the cultural understanding to prepare you for your life and work in the Netherlands. By the end of the program you will not only speak Dutch as a professional at a professional level, but also feel more confident about adapting to the Dutch culture. So that's one of the beautiful things about Academia Neerlandesa. This is a bit what I had to say. Very brief summary about how EMTG helps people to come to the Netherlands. So I think we can welcome Raquel. Hi, Raquel. Thank you so much that
Hi.
you're here with us to share your experience. Why don't you tell us a bit about yourself? Like, for example, how was it for you the first month when you had to move to the Netherlands?
So I moved to the Netherlands in at the end of January 2019. So that's already almost 7 years ago. And like you were explaining with the academia, I remember that I was in the last month of the academia, we experienced like Sinterklaas, and we learned a lot about like the differences with Christmas in Spain and in the Netherlands. And I remember, yeah, my first week in the Netherlands, it had just snowed. So everything was like super pretty, but it was also like so different from Valencia, where I come from. So it was really like, okay, here we go. It's so different to everything I've known or expected. But yeah, it was a really fun time, to be honest. Also because I moved together with like the friends that I made in academia. And yeah, we just all were brand new in the country. So it was kind of like good to have that connection, that friendship already.
You had that support at the beginning. It also sounds very fun, but I can imagine that the people that are watching this webinar think that it may be a bit scary to move to Spain and learn a new language. How was it for you to move those 4 months to academia?
Well, for me, actually, the academia is like in a place in Alicante where my father comes from. So I knew the place. And I also had my car with me. So I could go like every weekend back to see my family. So I didn't really find it that, yeah, I wasn't really that scared about the process. But I think also the difference is that I had just graduated university, so I was like brand, new in the working world, and I just knew that I wanted to experience something new for myself. I've never done like an Erasmus year, like a year abroad. So I saw it more like as a very exciting experience. But I know that some colleagues of mine were a bit older. Some of them had a relationship. So for them, it was really like, this adventure, is it gonna like, be worth it or not? But that's the fun thing about the academia, that you're always with people, you sleep together in rooms, you make friends, and then you can always discuss like the good things and the bad things with them. So, but yeah.
That you that you say again that that support making friends in the academia was a very important thing for you. Of
Yeah.
course, you're very lucky that you're from Alicante. I understand. Well, people like me, we're not from a very close place, but I think everybody had a fine time, and 4 months go also very quick.
Yeah.
Um, did you find any barriers? Did you find it very difficult to learn Dutch, or what can you tell us about the lessons?
Well, it's a very difficult language, especially because it doesn't look like anything we know. Well, a little bit like English, but not really. More if like you've been learning Dutch for a longer time. So I think that was probably like the biggest difference, that suddenly you just like, I remember the first day you got like the books, and I wanted to dig in and I wanted to like read everything, and I was just like trying to find one word that I kind of knew what it would mean, and I couldn't. And I was like, oh my God, where did I get myself into? But yeah, at the beginning it was kind of like you would just learn like the easiest words, like how, like furniture is called, or like different kinds of fruits, all of that. So it felt like being again at school, but like in a fun way. And then at some point you start to realize that it's something that, you're gonna need for your future. So then yeah, depending on how motivated you are and how good you are in languages, you can learn easier, or like it can take you a bit of time. But when I was studying at the academia, I don't know how it was for you, but we would do like classes Monday to Friday and Saturday in the morning. So at the end of the week, you felt like you were so like into the like, routine of like learning and speaking Dutch and hearing the language, that at some point it kind of like started to get a bit more easy. But still it's challenging for sure.
Experience was also that some people learn a bit faster, some people need a bit more of time, but the professors, the teachers at academia would just like help people that needed a bit of a slower tempo. So it's really they really look individually what everybody needs, and that was very nice to experience. And
Yeah.
all my friends that I made and all the people in my class nowadays live in the Netherlands, and they speak fantastic Dutch. So I think it's a
Yeah,
very good
exactly
program.
same. Yeah, I think we got like very lucky because both of us, we still have friends that live here. Um and it's been a long time because like you came here, I believe 1 year after I did. Still a long time to be in the Netherlands. But yeah, I remember like there were a couple of teachers, especially, who would always like focus so much that it kind of felt like a little bit of a like heartbreaking leaving the academia, because you feel like they've been there for me and like really trying to put on their work. But yeah, I mean, if there's some people that are not good with languages, it doesn't mean that you cannot come, because they're gonna do everything possible to help you learn. So yeah.
How was it for you when you moved to the Netherlands and you had to face that first day at work? What were the differences in the nursing task that you had? Like, for example, what you are used to in Spain and what you had to do new here in the Netherlands, or was it a bit the same for you? Same tasks?
It was very different because it was actually I started in psychiatry, so it was like completely a different vibe than Spain. Because in Spain I'd just been like in the hospital, primary care. That's it. So, but I remember that everyone knew who I was and everyone was very welcoming. And the first, especially few months, basically what they just wanted from me was to try to help me settle, try to understand how the company works, what they were expecting of me. Um, just, they really gave me the time to understand the whole process and to feel good before I took on some responsibility. And I believe that's like the number one difference with Spain, because in Spain, if you just get like hired for whatever job it might be, maybe if you're lucky, they help you one day with like settling in, but the second day you're expected to do everything on your own. And here, like the first, I believe it was even like 3 to 4 months, I would had like a mentor, and it was someone who would explain literally everything to me. So that was really nice.
It's your relationship with your colleagues. Did you feel integrated?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I felt, especially at the beginning, for me, it felt a little bit awkward to just like be in social situations at work because everyone would speak Dutch, and my Dutch wasn't that good at the time to be able to understand every conversation. So at some points, I started to like understand a few more words, and people were like really really kind. They would try to speak slowly to me. They would try to sometimes, throw in a couple of like words in English in between so that I could understand what they wanted. But yeah, they were really patient, and they were like, no one ever made me feel bad or like, stupid for like not speaking Dutch at a good level when I just started.
Very important. New country, new work, new language.
Hmm.
And what can you tell us about the growth possibilities in your career? Like, for example, did you study anything? Did they ever offer that?
Yeah, for sure. So I think also probably you would agree with me, like the possibilities here are endless. And I've explored a few because I feel always like, if there are possibilities there that you can take, you should take them, and you can always try. And if it's not anything for you, you can always change. And that's one of the best things of the Netherlands, that they have like so much stability that you can always try to go on a new area. I've done a couple of like specializations, just shorter ones, half a year, but still like they give you the opportunity to explore, to learn. They pay for everything so that you can continue growing in your career. And if you don't like something, you know that there's still this really big market with a lot of vacancies where you can find your place. So it always feels kind of like safe. And they really, really want you to keep on learning and like being the best version of yourself at every job I've been to. Like they pay for you to go to congresses. They try to, ask you to go at least to like a few courses every year to try to keep your knowledge like on, yeah, a little bit, yeah, to the currency. For example, I remember a couple of weeks ago there was like this new study about sudden death syndrome, because I work in pediatrics, and like I literally get paid a few hours in a month to just do a little bit of research, see what's up there, what's like the best information we could give to parents, and just share that with my team. And that's something that I've never experienced anywhere else. So yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, you can tell that the Netherlands need specialized nurses. So there's a lot of possibilities here for people that also would like to study something else.
Yeah.
How is it the work-life balance?
I feel like it really depends on where you work, but in general, I would say a bit better than Spain, because here the maximum of hours people work is 36. In other countries, it's like 40. So that would be a start. Usually, when you work in the hospital, it's like 8 hours, which also makes it pretty like, easier to combine if you have kids. And they also have like a few kind of like, besides maternity leave, they have parental leave, which is for older kids, so that people with kids can adapt their schedules a little bit more around kids. They're also flexible with things like, for example, if you're moving like from one house to another, they give you like a couple of days free to just focus on that. And I believe, my experience at least, is that managers always want to go, and look with you for a situation that can be solved, instead of like working against you. So, for example, if you're not feeling your best, or if you're sick, or if you need to do something else, they're gonna try to find, that space in like the schedule, so that you can do your things and still, be at work.
Sounds pretty healthy. I also experienced that in my job. What can you tell us about life outside of work? Is it fun to move to the Netherlands?
Mhm.
Is it easy to make Dutch friends? That's a bit of a
So
taboo always.
yeah, again, I've really been super lucky with that because I moved to a house with like two Dutch girls who are currently my best friends. And because of them, I started to meet new people, and my circle started to like grow. And actually, the biggest reason why I don't see myself going back to the Netherlands is because, like, going back to Spain, is because I've created here my whole life with like people, friends who feel like family. So I don't want to miss that. Of course, like, besides my relationship and everything, like, I really have a lot of really good friends. But I would say the first year, it didn't feel like that. Like, the first year, my friends were just the people I met at the academia. And then, of course, Spanish people always find each other. So we would go somewhere, we would hear someone speaking Spanish, then suddenly we would be friends. So it's a bit more difficult to become friends with like Dutch people. But once you start speaking the language and you try to do your best, they're really, eager to, do plans with you as long as they see that you're a little bit interested in like the language and the culture. So I think it's really up to each person and how much effort you want to put in.
Dutch people, in my experience, are way more fun than I thought before I moved to the Netherlands, so it was a bit easy.
Yeah.
Also, I think it helps that the Netherlands is such a multicultural place, so that you feel at home pretty fast. You were talking about your first year. Of course, the first year is like a crucial moment for when we move, and one of the most important moments is when we get our big registration. That's the number to official number to work as a registered nurse. How was it for you to ask the registration? Was it easy? Was it hard? Did it take very long?
It was kind of easy because I had a mentor from EMTG who helped me with that. So they usually, I don't know how it works like at this very moment, but in my time when I moved to the Netherlands, you wouldn't do the exam at the very same moment that you would move to the Netherlands. So you would register for the B1 exam in the next 2 to 3 months. And then once you started doing the tests and you saw more or less, am I passing the test or not? That was the moment that you would start talking with a mentor about like registering for the big. And I believe for me it took like half a year in total with like registering for the exams, taking the exams, putting all of the documents aside and sending it to the big register. But it didn't feel that difficult because it was very clear from the beginning what I needed. So it was just like a list and you would just check every document that you needed. So
How was your relationship with your job mentor? Was it easy to find them when you needed to ask questions, when you didn't know how to get to places?
yeah, for sure. It always felt like we had the WhatsApp number, so we would just send a message whenever we wanted to. And if you ever needed to have a chat, you could always call or like see each other face to face. So yeah, I always felt like if I needed someone, there was someone I could talk to for sure.
Let's talk about money. I think I know the answer because you're after 6 years, more than 6 years here in the Netherlands. But with what's the difference with the salary in Spain where you come from, and is it easy or is it possible to also save money?
Yeah, so about like salaries, I think because I've been, of course, in different jobs, and like as you said, I've been almost 7 years here in the Netherlands, and I've studied like some things in between. I've been able to grow like on a really nice way, so I'm really happy with what I make, and it's way more than what I would ever be able to get in Spain, even with like a managing position. Um, but it's true that saving, it really depends on where you live. I've always lived in Amsterdam, which is a very expensive city, and I love to go on holidays and I love to go out to eat with my friends. So saving is very personal, but I've still been able to like buy a house with my boyfriend, and still do the things I want, just like you. So I guess in that sense, if you compare it to Spain, it's definitely a place with way more opportunities, because even people that make less money, they're still able to, like, do everything they want and survive. So yeah.
I agree. I agree. Um, One thing that people are always very eager to know is about housing. Um, how did you find your first place in the Netherlands?
My first place, well, MTG found like my first two places. So that was really easy. And then from then on, during Corona, it was also very easy because a lot of people just moved out of the city. So there was room everywhere. After that, it's been just a process of finding houses through online services. And I would say my number one tip for everyone who's trying to find a house is just don't lose your patience and try to keep on finding a house, because you will find a house eventually. But yeah, there's a lot of people who want to live in this country. It's a small country, so there are not that many houses available. And it's better to have something that you're not 100% completely like into, and then just grow from there. Because you're gonna find friends, so maybe at some point a friend has a room that where you can stay in. Maybe you start working in a city, but then you fall in love and end up moving to another place. So yeah, you just have to be open to possibilities and like keep on searching.
Are there any advice that you would give to a nurse, foreign nurse that is thinking about moving to the Netherlands?
I would say definitely, be aware that it's a process where you're gonna move to a different country with a different culture, different language, not a lot of sun and a lot of rain. So you have to be open to the possibility that, there are going to be days where you're not going to be able to enjoy it. But you have to look at the bigger picture and try to, if you really have the goal of living here, or at least trying to, live in a different country, you have to be open to the opportunity. And just, if you really want it, show your motivation to people, because Dutch people really love it when people try. So you don't have to speak a perfect Dutch the first day that you're working, but if people see that you're trying to understand them and trying to, you know, communicate in their own language, they're really gonna do their best to help you. So I would say that's like my tip.
I think that's a very good tip. And I do have personally a last question for you, because this is something that many, many people struggle with when they think about maybe moving to the Netherlands. You were talking about motivation. How does motivation take a part in a place that it rains so much and that sometimes it can be so cold? How was it for you to move to the Dutch weather?
Horrible. Probably the same for me. I think even for you was worse because you are from like the Canary Islands. So I think for me it was a bit better. But yeah, like I said, it's very important that you find your own group of people. That's why the academy is such a good place, because you're probably gonna, move to the Netherlands to the same place, or like around the same place where people live that you already know. So you can make plans with them. And a lot of, I mean, Dutch people love their social life. So every time you can, go to a bar and you'll find people. You can try to search for activities that you like and you'll find people as well. Just try to, make plans and don't let the rain stop you, because that was the first thing that I learned. Like, if it rains in Valencia, at least where I come from, if it rains, plans are cancelled and everyone's at home. But in the Netherlands, if it rains, people are still going to their plans. So you just need to get through that and try to, find your support people, and then it will get better. And at some point, it starts to get better, and then you also appreciate it more because you come from a couple of dark months, and then it starts to get sunny and nice, and then it kind of feels like the sun is better when you have experienced the rain before.
I appreciate it more. Very, very beautiful way to finish this Q&A. Thank you so much, Raquel. So
Yeah.
take a home message is, even though it rains, don't let it stop you from starting your new career here in the Netherlands, meeting a lot of friends, learning a new language, maybe learning how to bike or improve your biking skills.
Yeah.
That will happen for sure. But don't let it stop you. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to send us an email, to call us, or to find us in social media. So thank you all so much for watching, and thank you, Raquel, for your time and your experience.
Thank you. Thanks.